This conference will now be recorded.
Commission to order at 7:01. Okay, very good. I hope everybody had a great holiday and a wonderful new year. There we go. Well, I'm adjusting things here. Okay, very good. First item on the agenda is, we have a great group tonight. It'll take me a second here to open up my people. But what we have here is introductions. Once I get people opened up, I'll basically call a roll, which will also let people know who is here. Going to start from the top as I usually do. So if you know here, you'll know you'll be in order of. I'm calling out now for when we do roll votes. Okay, roll call. Brad Harris.
I'm here, sorry.
No problem. Jason Stanton.
I'm here trying to help Linda get in.
Okay, Karen Chapman.
Here.
I imagine Montechusett RPC. Bill Olefke.
Here.
Cindy Poundy.
You were muted, Cindy.
Here.
Okay, very good. Dean Valier.
Here.
George Cahill.
Present.
Guy Corbacero, me, I'm here. Holly Ford.
Present. Excuse me, Guy, did you get my email that I sent you earlier?
Yes, I did.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Joan Savoy.
Present.
Julie DeShanes. Jody, I'm sorry. Jody DeShanes. John Telepiak.
Upsack here.
Jonathan Krantz.
Here.
Kyle Befortwitz. Sorry if I beat up all your names. Kyle.
Yeah, Darwitz. Yeah, I'm here.
Parowitz. Okay, thank you. Laura Schifrin.
Laura Schifrin here.
Lauren, I'm sorry, Linda Quinlivan.
Here.
Patty Page, and I did get your email, Patty. Rick Ward.
Here.
Robert Schwartz. Okay, I see he's here. Just a formality. Roger Hoyt.
Here.
And Stacy Donahue.
Here.
Okay, very good. And that is the roll. Next item, I probably should have just waited for that, is approval of December 9th, 2021 minutes. They've been on the link for a couple days. Does anybody have any questions, any concerns on this? Corrections, additions? Not hearing any. I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Bob Schwartz, motion to approve.
Okay, very good. In a second.
Laura Schifrin, second.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Laura. Okay, I will call the, any other questions? If not, I'll call the roll. Okay, very good. Let's start with Joan Savoy.
Here.
Okay, Jody DeShanes.
Here.
John Telepiak.
I abstain. I was not present.
Okay, very good. Jonathan Krantz.
Aye.
Kyle Notorwitz. I'm sorry, I'm still beating that up.
I abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay, Laura Schifrin.
Laura Schifrin, yes.
Let's see, Robert Schwartz,
Yes.
Roger Hoyt,
Yes.
okay, and Stacy Donahue.
I have to abstain. I missed the meeting. Thanks.
Okay, very good. Okay, the minutes are accepted as printed. Next item on the agenda is the cash schedule that was sent out a couple days ago. It's coming up on the screen. And if I'm not sure, Linda, will you be taking this?
Sure.
Okay, if I'm not, I think that was the email I got. So if you could take this, it'd be appreciated.
Okay, so the opening balances from November 30th, 2021. The opening balance was $523,594.80. We had, hold on a minute, we had cash receipts. Sorry, a total of, including interest on all accounts of $80,455.46. Excuse my dog barking. I have both doors closed to my office, but you can still probably hear him. So the total cash on hand before the warrant was $604,050.26. The amount of this warrant, which includes all cash disbursements, is $135,663.70. And the balance after the warrant is $468,386.56. And also I included in the email that I sent a copy of the cash disbursements. And if anybody has any specific questions regarding that, you can always email me. And that's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Linda. Does anybody have any questions on this? Not hearing any, I will entertain a motion to accept the cash schedule as presented, subject to audit.
Mr. Chair, this is
Yes.
Laura Schifrin. Linda, thank you for doing that for me this evening. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, Laura.
Had my eyes dilated again, so can't read. I will make that motion to accept the report as read, subject to audit.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Laura. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
That was Robert Schwartz seconded it.
Correct.
Okay, very good. Any other question? Did I hear anybody? No? Okay, if not, I will call the vote for the motion. Bill Olefke,
Aye.
Cindy Boundy,
Aye.
Dean Valier,
Yes.
Guy Corbisero votes yes. Joan Savoy.
I'm just passing through, really.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Are you a member or an alternate or?
Oh, I'm not a member or an alternate. I'm from the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust.
Oh, okay, very good. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'll skip you from there on. John Telepiak.
Aye.
And again, I just have to note here, if we happen to have the representative and the alternate, only one of you can vote on it, and it's usually the representative. But moving on, Kyle Notorowitz.
Aye.
I'm sorry. Laura Schifrin.
Laura Schifrin, aye.
Robert Schwartz.
Aye.
Roger Hoyt.
Aye.
Stacy Donahue.
Aye.
And Veronica Kell. Okay.
Veronica Kell is aye, but I have a question. If Laura and I are both here, I'm not sure if she's the representative and I'm the alternate. Should I be voting?
No,
And what
no,
you
you shouldn't. If she's voted not, and I'm sorry, I forgot about that, that both of you are there. I did see it, yes, earlier today, so.
Okay,
No.
thank
That is the alternate, and I represent the planning board.
Correct.
you.
Correct. Usually the way it works in our bylaws. Okay, very good.
Can I interject
Yeah,
for
please.
one thing, Guy, because I'm kind of just a bystander at this too. So maybe you should take away my vote because
Okay,
I'm
very good. Whoever is taking the notes will do that.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Maybe okay, just looking here. Very good. Anyway, the cash schedule is accepted as presented. Okay, next item on our agenda is guest announcements and questions. So it looks like we have 3 guests so far that I've seen. It's Joan Savoy. That was Cindy Boundy that I just spoke to. And George Cahill. Does anybody have any, and George Cahill is a guest only, he's with Mart now instead of the MRPC, so he's considered a guest. George, do you have anything to report? Oh, to jump this on you. Format.
To report on our projects in March.
Yes.
Yes, I do have one. We just launched Follow Your Bus. It is an app. You put it on your phone or your computer, and that app will let you follow your bus. Mart has collaborated with Passio Technologies for enabling real-time bus tracking and alert notifications. Mart users and riders will be able to track the real-time location of the bus they are looking for, and also by viewing the location of the bus in a graphical dashboard on their phone or computer. And all that provided by Passio Technologies. And our riders start using this app and they are very happy.
Okay, so
And
the app Go ahead. Okay, great. That's great news. You know, people now can find out when their bus is coming and
Yes.
other information. Thank you,
Yes.
George. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. And that's a nice one to get going. Okay, Actually, Joan or Cindy, do you have anything that you would like to say? No, I guess not. This is just the area for public comment now. As I said, we've reformatted the way we do it, so it might be a little confusing. Where'd Bob Entry from?
Somebody in Vegas?
Is you Sharon Gardner there? Anyway, okay. We've gone through guest announcements and questions, so now we're at to section 5, administrative matters. So this is your department, Glenn.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I will be brief. Karen Chapman has presentations on 3 subjects, 2 that are interrelated. They may be all interrelated. I'll leave that to Karen, but I want to get to those as soon as possible. Under 5, section, it's 1.1. The bottom line is that several weeks ago, I pulled away from the requirement to be working in the office 3 days a week on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays due to the emergence of new cases with COVID-19, and relaxed that requirement so people could work at home again. About 2/3 are doing that virtually exclusively. About 1/3 of the people identified here are coming in as they can. Fiscal is there, and the other people I identified there, Brad and Brian and myself. I'm trying to get there 3 to 4 days a week. Depends on what's going on. I just want to reinforce that we've always had the option that if people want to meet at the office, that people can do that. Virtually no one has. I think one person asked me to meet at the office over the last 18 to 24 months. And the last point I should make is that, and this is very important, is that I'm not requiring any MRPC employee to meet in public in a city or a town hall or any other venue for a meeting with the communities due to their safety. If an employee wants to go to a public meeting, as long as they're doing so safely, I'm fine. But if they discuss with me, they've been requested at a public meeting and they don't feel comfortable, then as far as I'm concerned, they don't have to go, and we have to work out something with our communities. Some of our, I don't know the percentage of our city and town halls that are open, but I do know that there's a public meeting in Athol mid-month, and one of our staff, our part-timers, has been asked to attend. She doesn't have a problem with it, and she said, that's okay, I'll go and I'll be safe, and that's fine. However, if she didn't feel comfortable, I would not require her to go, and that would lead to a conversation between myself, that employee, and the party requesting her, that committee or that commission or that board, and we would just try to figure it out. Somebody can always call into a meeting. So the priority for me is a lot of responsibilities, but right now it's public safety, and the safety of the staff and their families is of paramount importance. So just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Actually, you can scroll through this fairly quickly, Jason, if I can just read each title. 1.2, 1.3, nothing new. 1.4.1, nothing new, really nothing new. Keep going. There's some personnel stuff I just wanted to hit the highlights of right there. 1.5. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate that. So Mr. Jeff LaGrosse, or Jeffrey, he goes by Jeff, has been hired as the agency's new principal planner in the Planning and Development Department under Karen Chapman, Planning and Development Director. Basically, Jeff will be following in Karen's footsteps, as Karen was promoted from Senior Planner to Planning and Development Director some months ago. Jeff has now been hired. He'll be on with us, I believe, this coming Monday. I'll ask the staff to correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he's going to be there at 9. We're going to do some onboarding with Holly and Karen and Fiscal and so on. The 1.5.2 we posted, excuse me, back in October, I believe, or November, 2 positions for Economic Development Manager and an ARPA SLFRF Grant Management and Compliance Director. We received several applications for the Economic Development Manager position, and one person applied for both. We don't have money to hire an ARPA Grant Management person, so therefore we wouldn't be hiring that party. Certainly not right now. Excuse me. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. We had a second interview, a first and second interview with an economic development manager candidate. We had a second interview, I believe, yesterday. Karen can correct me if I'm wrong. And she, the candidate, she was supposed to get back to us by tomorrow to see if she's going to accept the position. We're hoping she does. If she does, we'd look to onboard her this January. And that's about it. There's just a little placeholder commercial for the ARPA presentation and discussion. It's about the listening sessions. The next one will be at January 20th. Holly, if you want to make a mental note, that I'll be asking you to help me push out the invitations on a monthly basis to folks. We basically will. I have several groups in the Outlook groups contacts, Holly, that will be sending out to people, CEOs, planners, economic development people, and so on and so forth. So Guy, I just wanted to hit that stuff very quickly and turn it over to you to turn it to Karen, if we can do that. She has several presentations. We have a lot of attendance tonight. A lot of people, I think they're keen coming in for this stuff and possibly other things. So I'd like to mute myself again, Guy. Okay, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, very good, Glenn. Thank you very much. Karen, Glenn says you have a few presentations to give us.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jason, can I share?
You have that availability?
Can you see it? This is weird.
Yes. I can Commonwealth of
Yes,
Massachusetts.
Karen, it's on.
Is it big though?
Could be bigger.
I can barely see it.
For what it's worth, I see it fine. If you go to the slide view and get out of the slide sort of view, that would help. But
Because I have it on the other screen.
It's fine on my screen.
It's up now.
yeah, it's okay here.
It's big. You can see
Just
it big.
came up.
Okay. Now I can't see it. I'm sorry if it looks like you're looking up my nose, but I have a big monitor up here. So I'm sorry ahead of time. All right. So let's go from the beginning. All right. That better? Okay.
Great.
I don't want to see that other slide though. Okay, so first up, I'm talking about the District Local Technical Assistance Program. This is our 15th year in the program. We contract with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development. As I said, it's the 15th year. Under the statute, all RPAs get a $2.8 million budget to distribute among the 13 RPAs. So this year, their priority funding areas are, as in the past years, planning ahead for housing, planning ahead for growth, supporting the community compact, and assisting MBTA communities, which I'll get into in the third presentation. DHCD would like us to spend about 30% of our DLTA funds on the first three items and prioritize the fourth item, assisting our communities, with the remainder of the funds. So planning ahead for housing is planning and implementation activities that encourage and support affordable and market rate housing production opportunities. And this includes all of the housing choice initiatives that you would like to do. It also, it includes things like zoning changes to support housing or doing a housing production plan or anything that would lead to more housing. Planning ahead for growth encourages economic development opportunities. So you all know what economic development is. So it could be a master plan, it could be a feasibility study of a business area, it could be any number of things, but in the request for service delivery, you'll see all the specifics in there. And then supporting the community compact. Most of our communities have contracts with the state under the Community Compact program, and so we can support communities who want to adopt those community compact programs, or if they don't have a signed community compact, we can help with implementation of items that are community compact best practices. You don't have to necessarily have a signed contract with the state. So the process and the timeline for this year, we're required to snail mail the request for service delivery to the executive branch of each community, as well as the commission representative of each community. And so we'll be most likely, hopefully, mailing that out on Monday, because a bunch of us will be in the office. So we're hoping to mail that out on Monday. So the deadline for the first round of proposals from all of you would be February 1st, which is really kind of quick, for the February 3rd commission meeting, or March 1st for the March 3rd commission meeting. So either one of those will be the first round, because it's such a short time turnaround. You know, planning boards have to meet, people have to put it on their agendas. So then we'll snail mail a second round if all of the funds are not allocated, which, you know, as far as I know, we've always done a second round. And so the deadline for that, I'll be mailing that out on March 2nd, and then that deadline would be April 5th to vote for the April 7th commission meeting. Questions on DLTA? That was quick and dirty.
Actually, Karen, Guy Corbacero,
Yes.
one quick question. You said you were mailing them out to the members. You physically mailing them out to the members such as myself, or to the department?
The contract actually requires that you mail it to the commission representative as well as the executive branch of the community.
Okay,
So I don't think that's how it's been done before. You know, we usually send it to the planning board, the board of selectmen, the town manager, administrator, city council, and, you know, when we email it to even more people.
Okay, very good. So basically you're saying that, like, for Winchendon, you're gonna mail it to the town manager and me, so if I get it, I should turn it over to Tracy, just to make sure she's got it, because she's our planning director, correct?
Yes, unless Glenn has some other idea about it, but.
Okay, I
Well,
just want to make
just to
sure.
chime in quickly, so what we've done in the past is exactly what Karen's talking about. So we have to snail mail to the people that it says we have to snail mail inside the contract. Karen identified those two local departments, if you will. And then we have, you know, a database of town planners, CEOs, planning boards, Concoms, EMDs, ABCs, XYZs, DPW directors. So we email just about everybody the request for delivery of services, but the snail mail goes to just a couple of departments. So virtually everybody gets a copy. The vast majority of people get a PDF in their email.
Great, thank you.
One other thing, go ahead.
Karen, this is Veronica Cal.
Yes.
Does the DLT application require a BOS signature?
Yes.
I'm just looking at the dates on this for a February 1st deadline.
Yeah.
Okay. It will be difficult to make that February 1st, I think. March 1st is probably more reasonable, only because your commission or board or whatever would have to meet, vote on the project, and
Right.
then get to the Board of Selectmen to vote.
Right, and that's why I had March and February as the first round.
Okay, so that you're still considered, it's not a first in, first consideration, or is it?
Well, let me just talk about some of the things that Glenn and I have been talking about changing the criteria for the DLTA processes. We're gonna try and only give each community one project per year, because it's you know, some communities have been getting 2 or 3 a year. And so we've looked back at the history and we think we're going to try and do one per community, because we also have this MBTA community stuff to do. So I think more communities are going to be involved in that. And we also would like communities to evaluate whether there's other places that you can get funding, like there's planning assistance grant that's every May. We can do the application for you. I know some of our towns have taken advantage of that for a bunch of different tasks. So any other questions? I can't see anybody, so.
No,
Okay.
don't see-
Doesn't appear to be, so I will move on to the next topic. So this is regarding the opera funds. So Governor Baker signed the $4 billion federal COVID-19 relief funding spending bill back in December. Did somebody have a question? No.
No,
Okay.
we're getting background noise from people who
Okay.
aren't muted.
All right, I'm sorry. So the bill authorized up to $2.55 billion in spending from the $5.286 billion ARPA money that we got from the federal government. And they've added 1.45 billion in surplus funds to that 2.55. So there's a total of $4 billion that went into this spending bill. And then so there'll be 2.3 billion left to be further appropriated down the road. There's no definite, we don't know yet where the money, how the money is going to get to us, but there's several categories that they pointed out. So in housing, there's I'm not going to read all of these, but I can send this to you after the meeting. 150 million to finance the production of housing, including seniors and veterans, money for public housing maintenance, rental housing production, and housing for disproportionately impacted communities, and 65 million to support expanded home ownership opportunities. And sorry, that cut off on the bottom. Healthcare. This is not necessarily related to all of us, but there'd be some money for the local boards of health and regional public health, hospitals, treatment centers, workforce retention, and capital improvements at nursing facilities. So these are all, I mean, these are good for our lives in general. I'm not sure that any of you would be involved in this. Workforce development, $500 million to support the Unemployment Compensation Trust Fund, $500 million for pay for low-income essential workers, which is great, $107.5 million for workforce and career technical skills training, which is fantastic. That could do a lot for this region, and $24.5 million for workforce development and capital grants to YMCAs and Boys and Girls Clubs, which is fantastic. They definitely need upgrades. Economic development, $135 million to support cultural facilities and tourism assets throughout Massachusetts. I think this would be a big one for us. A lot of our communities have cultural attractions, and tourism in our area is really high. So hopefully this will trickle down to us. Sorry to use the trickle down. 75 million for grants to small businesses, and 50 million of that will go to businesses reaching underserved markets and minority women and veteran-owned businesses, which is great. And 25 million reserved for small businesses that didn't qualify for previous programs under the COVID programs. Infrastructure investment, you'll all be interested in this. 100 million to fund grants for water and sewer infrastructure improvements. 100 million for culverts, dams, and other environmental infrastructure. The marine ports, not any, that's not applicable. 50 million to close the digital divide and increase broadband internet access. I know that's a huge issue for a lot of our communities. 44.8 million for food security. Again, our communities have a huge problem with this. And 25 million for greening gateway cities, which Fitchburg and Leominster gateway cities.
Yes.
Thank you. Education. I don't know if any of you are involved in the schools. 105 million for universities and community colleges and workforce support. 100 million for public school districts HVAC grants, which is huge. And 100 million for capital grants to vocational high schools and career technical education programs, which again is good for the workforce. Questions on ARPA? I know I went through it kind of quickly and I don't really have specific details about how all this money is going to come down, but I'm sure they'll be coming out with more information soon. No questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is John Tlepsiak. These monies you were just mentioning, they are available to us or the state? Us as in MRPC, or that's monies for the whole state?
Those are monies for communities throughout Massachusetts. So I assume that they're gonna push the money into grant programs. And that's how it's gonna get out. I really don't know how they're gonna set it up. But my assumption is that a lot of the monies will go into existing grant programs, or they may create bigger grant programs, different grant programs, things like that.
Okay. Thank you.
When I get more information, I'll give you guys more information.
Hi, Karen.
Yes.
Karen, hi, it's Joan Savoy, Townsend Affordable Housing Trust.
Hi, Joan.
Hi, thanks for this. I have a complete sidebar question and please tell me to stop talking if it's too irrelevant, but I've been asking everyone I can. So Townsend is, in a nutshell, we desperately need affordable housing and we have no land. We have wetlands. So, and the state owns a lot of our land in town, and some of their land is very buildable. So have you heard of any other communities, or do you know of any land swaps that the state has done with communities so that they can build some affordable housing with all this wonderful money that's there?
I don't know of any off the top of my head. I know Townsend did try to swap some land on Route 13 North with the state at the state forest, but they said no. I can look into it and see if I can find out about any.
I'd be so grateful, or the community certainly would, and anybody listening, if you've heard of any land swaps with the state, I'd love to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we've got the same issues in Ashburnham.
Yeah.
Well, they have a program for land swaps, but say they never really want to swap the land.
Yeah. In Townsend, they only wanted, I think it was 500 feet back from the road, just a strip along Route 13 North where it'd be perfect for some, light commercial or whatever, but they didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll offer 2 for 1.
I had a question, actually, Kyle Narkowitz, you represent Royalston?
Yes, I do.
Because I'm here in Phillipston, we have excellent broadband and so forth, but neighboring in Royalston, it seems like you guys have almost nothing.
Well, we are supposed to be finally getting broadband next year through the state help paid private industry to put it in.
Oh, okay. Because I saw what they said, I don't know, 50 million.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, we haven't had it in the 8 years I've lived here, so.
No, well, it's a neighboring community to us, and they're always complaining to us how
Yeah,
lucky we are because we have service and they do not.
yeah. We're supposed to finally be getting there. At least allegedly. They've been saying next year for longer than I've lived here.
Well,
So
that's so.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, that's
So
where I would say maybe you guys would be interested in looking into that part of it.
yep.
Those monies however it comes out
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's all already funded as of a few months ago. So
All right.
You know, if you guys all think there's some area that we can help out with, you know, there's 5 or 6 communities who really need broadband, you know, we can maybe help out when, you know, we're going to keep on top of the ARPA money and see what happens. And, you know, we know that there's lots of communities struggling with different topics. So,
Yeah.
if
I mean, I know that there's houses and people that are in Royalston or South Royalston, and they're close to the Phillipston border, and they're hoping that they could get into our broadband, and because they have been frustrated, so they have approached us to see if they could join us. But I think maybe these things would maybe help them instead.
Well, and a lot of the problem sometimes is the utilities don't want to spend the money to extend the pole or the line,
Right.
what have
Right,
you.
right.
Here in Townsend, there's an area in Townsend that hasn't had access to even cable.
Right.
It for forever, and they're just now trying to get it done. You know, you
Right.
got to get money. If the utility won't do it, then you got to get the money from somewhere. So hopefully these monies will help out on a lot of that stuff. You know,
Yeah,
hopefully,
no, I agree.
hopefully Boston doesn't forget about us out here.
On the
Well-
ARPA broadband extension, that is one of the uses of the ARPA funds that were distributed.
Yes.
Is to build out broadband.
So Veronica, is Townsend using that money to do that extension?
The extension is completed, as far as I know, and it was completed in March, April of 2020. And we're looking at, because it wasn't done from March of 2021 when the ARPA funds were voted in, we are able to use the revenue, the decreased revenue category of the ARPA to pay for that.
Excellent. Yeah, anybody that has any anything that you've done in your community that you think can help other communities, you know, this is the time to share. Okay, any more ARPA questions? I'll move on to the next topic. Okay. In January 2021, the Economic Development Bill was passed, which added Section 3A to our favorite chapter, 40A, the Zoning Act. And the purpose of the MBTA communities was the purpose of this section was to encourage MBTA communities to adopt zoning districts where multifamily zoning is permitted as of right and that meet other requirements set forth in the statute. I'm sorry, I tumbled over my words there. This is one portion of the Economic Development Bill. So immediately the DHCD came out with preliminary guidance for MBTA communities, and that's when we all discovered that they were going to force us to do this. And then December 15th, this bottom one was released, a draft compliance guidance, and it's very extensive and you should all read it word for word. It has a lot of information. I can send it out to you, or you can get it on the website. So this is one of the maps on their website. These communities in green are MBTA communities, and the purple line is obviously the train. This is another map they have. So each MBTA community is a type. If you have subway or light rail, you're the dark blue. Light blue is the bus, commuter rail, and then MBTA adjacent. We have obviously none that are subways. They're all in the east. But we have both commuter rail and MBTA adjacent communities. And so this is a little spreadsheet. So on the left, the municipalities, these are our municipalities that are covered under this MBTA communities law. The second column is what type you are. So you're either MBTA adjacent or you have a commuter rail. Then the third column is 2020 housing units, and this is from the census. So these are actual numbers. So just a side note, you can use this number to figure out what your SHI is now. With the 2020 census number. And then the fourth column is the minimum multifamily district unit capacity requirement. And this is based on the community type. And then the minimum multifamily units as a percentage of total housing stock. Again, that's based on the community type. If you're MBTA adjacent, it's 10%, which I'll just use Ashburnham as an example. So they need to have 10% of their total 2020 housing units as multifamily units. And so that's 273. That's what the unit capacity number is. So they have to have a multifamily district that could allow 273 units. So this little spreadsheet has all your numbers on it. The commuter rail communities, Air, Fitchburg, Leominster, and Shirley, they have to have 15%. Lucky you, Bill. So that I know it's a little confusing, but when you read through the guidelines, you understand this more. And like I said, I'll have Holly send this whole thing out to you guys tomorrow. So the requirements of this new section 3A, one, you have to have a zoning ordinance or bylaw that provides for at least one district of reasonable size in which multifamily housing is permitted as of right. And what they're saying a district of reasonable size is, it has to have a minimum gross density of 15 units per acre and be located not more than 0.5 miles from a rail station, subway station, ferry terminal, or bus station, if applicable. So obviously, most of our communities that part wouldn't be applicable. So the only applicable part is the minimum gross density of 15 units per acre. And then B, an MBT community that fails to comply with this section shall not be eligible for funds from the Housing Choice Initiative, the Local Capital Projects Fund, or the MassWorks Infrastructure Program. So they're really punishing you if you're not going to comply with this. And then the department, along with Mass DOT and DHCD and MBTA, will decide if a community is in compliance with this section.
Karen,
Yep.
this is Bill Alfke.
Yep.
How you doing? Quick question where it talks about if they're in compliance or not.
Yeah.
Are they talking about that, hey, you're gonna get to that 15% within a month or two, or a year or 2 years, or is it we're setting up the district and we're trying, and that's the compliance?
I'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. I understand. So if you're not in compliance currently, and you know, I haven't looked at everybody's zoning yet. I don't know, you know, Leominster or Fitchburg or Gardner or Athol. I don't know that anybody is in compliance currently, but if you're not, these are the steps that you have to take. So one, you have to create an action plan no later than July 1st. You have to have approval. So you write an action plan that says, how are you going to get to this place? How are you going to pass the zoning amendment? Where are you going to put this district? So you have to have all that in a plan, which has to be submitted to DHCD, and they have to approve it by July 1st, 2023. The second step is implementation of the action plan, which obviously is self-explanatory. You work on all those things you put in the action plan. And then 3, you adopt the zoning amendment, and they won't approve an action plan with an adoption date later than December 31st, 2024. So we do have a little bit of time to do this, but just be aware of that. And then 4 is determination of full compliance. Once you pass the zoning amendment and everything, within 90 days of passing that, you file an application with DHCD, and they determine if you're in compliance. So if you are interested in applying for grants for this year under MassWorks or those other ones that I mentioned, so to remain in interim compliance, you have to submit a complete request for a determination of compliance, or notify DHCD that there is no existing multifamily district that fully complies with these guidelines, and submit a proposed action plan. No later than this December. And
But
that's
that's
in order.
only for the communities that, excuse me, that's only for the communities that are listed as MBTA.
Yes. Yeah, if you're
So
not an
those of us who
MBTA
are
community.
not,
Well, yeah, if you're not an MBTA
okay.
community, you can go to sleep right now if you want.
No, I
I'm
just want to make sure we could apply for grants.
Right. I'm sorry. Let me take back what I said about this one. You have to do these things no matter what if you're an MBTA community.
But if you're not, you don't have to do that.
Right. So this one is if you want to apply for grants, you have to do these 3 things by May 2nd of this year. You have to have a presentation of the draft guidelines, which they're talking about DHCD's draft guidelines, which is where I got all this information from. You have to have a presentation of that for the select board or city council or town council. You have to complete and submit the MBTA community information form, which is on their webpage. It's a simple form, it's name, contact information and all that. And 3, submit updated GIS parcel maps to GIS if you haven't done so since January 1st, 2020. And DHCD is going to contact the 14 MBTA communities that need to do that. So you don't have to worry about going to ask your people about it. So these are the 3 things that you need to do if you still want to participate in the One Stop for Growth program or any of those other grants that I mentioned. And then save the date. They're having a virtual webinar, and I implore everybody to try and get somebody to go to this, because I'm sure there's going to be all the MBTA communities there asking questions, and you'll get a lot of valuable information, and hopefully they'll get the idea that, there's a lot of towns that just can't do this. And so the draft guidelines, they sent them out for comment. There's comments due by March 31st. What we'd like to do is, if this is amenable to you guys, if you want to talk to your people and we can put together a letter that's comments. I mean, we're going to do it anyways, but if you want your comments included with us, or if you want to send your own letter of comments, that's fine. But we need to get it in by March 31st. So if you want us to do it for you, we'd like your comments by, I guess, March 15th. But definitely go on the website and register. I'm gonna send this, like I said, having Holly send this, that register word. If you click on that, it'll take you right to register for the webinar. Questions on MBTA communities? I know I went through that fast and there's so much more information. I could have gone on and on for hours, but I know people don't want to do that. So I encourage you all to go to their webpage, just Google MBTA communities, you'll find it. They have a ton of information. They've done a really good job of putting information up on the website. So I encourage you to do that. So any questions on this?
This is Stacy Donahue from Harvard Planning Board. Do they have, so if we propose something to our town and we go to town meeting and our town rejects it, does the state have the authority to force it, or does it, do we just automatically lose grant funding and never get another chance, or have to wait 2 years and try again? Do you know yet?
I do not know that, but I wondered the same thing myself. But so
they seem pretty serious. Like you know, like what if we propose something, the town says no? Can they still force it? I guess is.
Yeah, I don't know how they would force it. You know, it's a vote of town meeting.
Right. Okay.
I guess you get, you know, it'll be one of the questions that gets asked. I'll make sure I ask. And, you know, it's this bylaw would probably not require the 2/3 vote at town meeting because it encourages housing. So it probably will just be a simple majority. So that's helpful.
That is helpful.
Also, I'm assuming that, and that's a question I will ask. Stacia, did the planning board talk about it on Monday?
We actually had only just 3 members of planning board on Monday because people are sick. So we didn't get to chat about it much. I think here in Harvard, we were a little concerned about the number. You know, we only have 2,000 housing units and 750 to add was a lot. So mind-boggling number, but it looks like we'd actually only be 225 units at the 10%. And since we're an MBTA adjacent, again, our problem mainly is sewerage. You know, right. Everybody here is on septic, so I don't know how we can, I don't even know if we've got a parcel that could perk to take 15 units an acre. So we'll have to review and talk with our select board. And we've been trying to also talk with Devens because at one point there was talk of letting us connect over there. We're trying to reopen those negotiations. And we were doing that before we knew this was coming, but now it seems even more urgent.
Right.
That's where we are right now.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bill, did your question get answered?
Yes. And we will be seeing you January 26th, and we'll have lots more.
I'm sure you will.
I guess, Karen, this is Veronica Kell. We have a multifamily open space bylaw. It's not by right, it's a special permit. But we have a development that you might remember that out on West Meadow Road that's been on the books since about 2008, 20 units. It's never been developed.
Yeah.
And the permit has been renewed and renewed. I guess I have a lot of questions about this. And again, we have all septic,
right.
And we don't have, you know, there's also water is an issue. Right. So I guess if we can't get the 20 units in the 4 buildings that we thought were going to go in, you know, many years ago, how are we going to get 750 or 350 or whatever the number is that we need to get?
Right. So and there is some mention in the guidelines about locating these districts, and if there can't be wetlands, there has to be infrastructure for water and sewer. So I don't know how, you know, there's so many questions about, you know, how is this going to work for some of our communities? And I do know that they also put in the guidelines that this doesn't mean you have to go out and build those number of units. You just have to allow it. You don't have to even ever build it. You just have to allow it. And that, you know,
Doesn't that defeat the purpose?
yeah,
I mean,
I agree. And you know, you got to give the state a little kudos because they've been trying to promote housing and multifamily housing, and we need housing. Everybody knows we need housing. The prices are way too high. If you work at a minimum wage job, there's no way you're buying a house. And when we talk about housing, we should talk about homes. People want homes. Homes are your safe place. That's where people want to go to be safe. And there's so many people that can't do that. And it's just, it's sad. And, you know, the state is trying every method they can to get some housing built. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, just if I may, Guy, very quickly. As far as I'm
Yes,
concerned,
please, go.
as far as I'm concerned, this is a law that should not have been passed. It's definitely, it's sold as carrot and stick. Hey, Ashby, why don't you adopt by right 15 units per acre in Ashburnham and Lunenburg and all the others to increase housing. I truly respect and I understand the need for more housing in the Commonwealth. We don't have enough. Our prices are ridiculously high. I was told by a realtor 2 weeks ago that there are only 2,500 units of housing on the market in Massachusetts. 12 months ago, December, there were 10,000. We know we have an affordable housing problem. We know we have an issue. But to me, this is legislation through the goggles of the eyes through the goggles of Easterners and placed on the people of Central Mass and very rural communities. And I just think it's wrong in one word. I'd like to see the law repealed bluntly. If it's not, I'd like to see it amended so that certain communities that maybe that we can develop a formula where certain communities bluntly, like several of the ones that I just stated and others, could be exempted or eschewed, just cut out of this law. I just feel that this is an imposition from by Eastern Mass on the rural Mass. So I just wanted to make sure that you all understand, you know, my position. We will, Karen mentioned, we will be preparing a letter. We will be submitting a letter on behalf of the Regional Planning Commission. We would like your comments. And yes, Karen, if we can get, you know, community's comments by the 15th, so we can pen a letter and put it together for the submission date of the 31st, try to get it done by 28th, 29th. We want to take a very strong stance on this. And also, you know, we'll communicate this to our legislative delegation. We're making new inroads to new reps and senators that have been elected, and we'll put this on their radar screen as well. But I just, this law doesn't sit well with me. But the flip side of the coin, I get it. I get that the Baker-Polito administration has been very concerned about the lack of housing in Massachusetts, and I think we all share that concern. However, you know, is this the right way? Debatable. Thank you for your time.
I just have a couple more things. Sorry, I forgot. If anybody wants a presentation, you know, if you're going to take advantage of that May 2nd date and you need to present to your Board of Selectmen or whatever, we'd be willing to do that. And also, I don't know if I brought this up at a past meeting, but do all of you know that, you know, Waze that you use in traffic, you know, the Waze program? They've partnered with city and town officials to put traffic data on there, so DPWs can notify Waze, and they'll put it in their program to alert drivers. I don't know.
Aaron, what's Waze?
Waze, W-A-Z-E. It's like Google Map. It's for driving. It's like MapQuest, whatever you use for directions when you're driving. And it points out when you're driving, it points out, you know, there's police up ahead, or there's something in the road up ahead, or, you know, whatever. It tells you how long till you're going to get there and takes you the quickest way. It takes into account traffic and everything. So that's how they that's how they get people to go around where there's going to be construction or whatever. So Kevin Bartlett in Lancaster told me about this, so I just thought I would share it with everyone. Maybe I'll have Holly send it out to the DPW departments if people are interested.
Okay, good. Thank you for that information, Karen. Now that was W-A-Y-Z.
WAZE.
Oh, it's W-A-Z-E. Okay.
It's an app on your phone.
Give us something to look at, look for. Okay, very good. Any more from you, Glenn? If not, we'll move
No,
on.
sir.
We'll move
Actually,
on.
this is, wait, Stacy from Harvard. I have one more question.
Sure,
And
go ahead.
it's kind of related to the DLTA funding you said at the beginning, how it was going to be a 30-70 split this year because they want to focus more on the MBTA communities and getting us help. So if we needed to do like a study to try and figure out if there was someplace in town where we could put a small sewer plant, would that be something that would get priority in the funding under DLTA because it relates to the housing? You know, you get what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
Okay.
I do. It's related to the MBTA community thing, so would it be prioritized? I don't know.
Not that we're looking to study that, but you know, again, we're our big hurdle to adding housing is septic. So right now that seems to be where everyone's kind of laser focused. So
Right, and you know, should we explore a regional wastewater treatment plant? Do the existing wastewater treatment plants have any additional capacity? I mean, this is something that we should study as part of our infrastructure.
Right.
Yeah,
Glenn,
that's
you-
a phone call to DEP.
I do know that Royalston's wastewater treatment plant does have extra capacity. Obviously, there's nothing really nearby, but
I did know
we
that.
do have that.
A really long pipe from Harvard coming your way.
Well, you know, if you did put, you know, a regional wastewater treatment, pipes going everywhere.
You know, there are also other types of systems that just aren't approved in Massachusetts.
Correct. And, you know, the Board of Health never gets called into these things. And really, it's the local Board of Health that makes the septic rules. And if they don't allow like a community septic, they only allow single septics for a single house. Something that they should explore about expanding the opportunities for different types of septics. I know the Presby has been used, you know, that came out maybe 15 years ago, and that's been, you know, used in smaller areas. But yeah, the boards of health or the, you know, should get involved, or the you know, the regional boards of health.
Great.
Karen and
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman and all the attendees, may I say, to me, this is such a huge issue, and there are implications everywhere. You know, Karen, Guy, other members, if you'd like us to hold a special meeting on this, whether it's an AM, a noon, an evening meeting, whatever works, before the next commission meeting, I think there's a lot of material here that, a lot more that we should be going over, honestly, a lot more that we should be bringing to the table, a lot more that we should be taking back from you. And if you'd like us to hold a special meeting on this, or a series of 2 or 3 between now and March 31st, I think it would be a disservice not to offer that. So Karen, Mr. Chairman, I would just close by saying that on this section. Thank you.
If anybody would like it, please let Glenn know. I'm from one of the communities along with John Telepiak. They told us to go to sleep for this, but.
Thank you for not sleeping.
We're not. Okay, very good. Anybody have any questions of Karen or Glenn and anything that they presented? If not, we'll go to status report. Not hearing any. Glenn, we have a new format. We've done it for the last 2 months of the status report using the account numbers. Could you just give a quick overview of what we're doing here? Because I'm going to end up jumping from page to page.
Exactly. And I think that was the intention when we started reformatting this. So we're doing quarterly status reports. Excuse me. We started doing status reports tonight on a quarterly basis starting this evening. So add 3 months, or whatever, next 3 months, we'll do another quarterly. In the past, for many years, the chairman would read the headings and ask if anybody has any questions about each section. So we have many dozens of contracts and headers. And so if there's a way that we can expedite this, quite frankly, and to be blunt, Mr. Chairman, I would just ask, I mean, if you want to ask the commissioners if anybody has any questions on any of the status reports, and if you get crickets, maybe just go page by page while Jason just scrolls down, because we can really expedite this. This is something that we would, we know that the commissioners read beforehand, and usually they come up with questions. Usually when the chairman in the past asks for the headers, goes by headers, usually there's a lot of crickets and nobody asks. So we're going to try tonight to change it up a little bit, just to go a little faster. And Mr. Chairman, remember that old song, that old game show, if you can sing that tune in 5 notes, but if you can sing this one in 3 notes, then that's fine. So I would basically say don't read every heading unless someone says, stop. So that's what I would suggest. Mr. Chairman, it's up to you.
Sounds great to me. Okay, very good. We do have one resolution going through when it comes to the tip. So when we get there, we'll slow down a little. But first we have start of the status report, page 5. If I think you're in control of this, Jason, if you could scroll down through the page 5. And if anybody has any questions on any of the topics, please speak up. Okay, if not, don't hear anything. No questions, page 6. There we go. Please bear with us. Well, okay, that was page 6. The only thing we have on that, page 7, again, geographic information systems for this page. As I said, even if we're 1 page past, if you think of anything, say it. We just went through page 7. We'll go to page 8. No questions on page 8. We'll go to page 9. And this is where we have our resolution. Okay, very good. This is transit and transportation. So this is Brad's department. Brad, do you want to speak on this resolution?
Just briefly, the Transit Authority, Mark, at the last MPO meeting came up with an amendment to the 2022 federal fiscal year, the transit element. Basically, they were adjusting the price costs of a couple of projects, adding some new ones, and deleting some old projects based upon the funding issues and some of their past cost estimates that were based upon those. So they presented this to the MPO. The MPO reviewed it and recommended it go off for a 21-day public review and comment period. That comment period began on December 24th, and it's going to close on Thursday, January 13th. We'll also be discussing this at the Montezuma Joint Transportation Committee meeting next week on the 12th. So comments can also be made at that meeting if anyone's interested. To date, we have not received any comments on this amendment, but it's pretty straightforward, something they've done in the past. So basically, the resolution is, Jason, if you could scroll it up just a little bit more. resolution is be resolved, the MRPC has reviewed the draft amendment of the FFY 2020, the FFY 2022 element of the FFY 2022 to 2026 tip, and based upon this review and comments received to date, hereby authorize its chairman to endorse amendment number 1 at an MPL meeting scheduled for January 19th, 2022.
Okay, very good. Do we, the resolution's been read. Do we have any questions in regards to this resolution? Not hearing any questions, I'll entertain a motion to accept the resolution as read.
I'll make that.
Okay, John Telepiak made the motion, and I think Bill Lefke seconded it, if not
I'll second it.
mistaken.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, great. Thank you. I thought that I saw your name come up. Okay, any questions again before I call the vote? Roll. No question. Well, questions, I guess. So I'll call the roll. Bill Lefke.
Aye.
Dean Valier.
Aye.
Guy Corbacero, chair votes aye. John Telepiak.
Aye.
Jonathan Krantz.
Aye.
Carl Natowitz.
Aye.
Okay, Laura Schifrin.
Aye.
Let me get down. I'm sorry, I'm not moving as fast as I should. Robert Schwartz.
Aye.
Roger Hoyt.
Aye.
Okay, very good. That's everyone. Then if I didn't miss anybody, please speak up. Otherwise,
Donahue, aye.
okay, very good. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, very good. Then the resolution is passed unanimously. Okay, very good. We have a little more on, let's see, that was page 9. No questions on anything of that. We'll move on to page 10. A lot of transit stuff. Nothing there. Page 11. DOR stuff. And that brings us down to the end of that section, but we do have 6.1, which is geographic information systems. Do you have anything for this, Jason, that we haven't met?
I have nothing new to add.
Okay, very good. Planning and development, Karen, anything new to add?
No, sir.
Or any questions for those departments? And last but not least, transit and transportation, Brad Harris and his department. Any questions of them?
No new status, but I do want to point out there is a handout in the online folder. There is a webinar coming up on February 3rd on mobility management in Massachusetts. And it's going to talk about basically navigating community transportation options can be confusing for older adults, people with disabilities, and others in need of a ride. Through using mobility management strategies, you can facilitate mobility by working directly with consumers to help them become aware of and learn to use the options available to them. So this is a webinar that's going to be put on by Mass DOT's Rail and Transit Division on February 3rd. It's free, and you can register with them to attend the webinar. This is also up on our website on news and announcements, so you could directly link to them for registration. But I just wanted to point that out to everybody.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Any questions from the commission to any of the members, any of the staff?
I had a quick question.
Sure, John.
I don't know. I think I saw it go by. There's nothing new with MEC, right? Have we been doing anything with MEC?
Nothing on the status report. Anything that you can give us, Glenn?
No, there's nothing new. Short answer. Not right now. And if there was, it would be
Okay.
on the report this evening, sir. Sirs.
Sure.
Okay, very good. Just want to note, it seems we've been working out the kinks here. So when we come to our next meeting, if you have any questions, maybe you want to check out the status report. So when you know that page comes up, you'll be able to jump in. As I said, we're still tweaking this, so we'll see how it works next month. Actually, then, if there's no other questions, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned at 8:22 and thank everyone for their participation. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'll learn the names as I go along.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Guy, you should